ILTV Plus, your news from Israel and more 24/7. Start your free trial today. Subscribe at ILTV.tv and watch from any device. And our final story tonight, we return to the ever-impressive and ongoing saga of Aulcie Perry, the incredible former Israeli-American basketball star, and this as the documentary on Aulcie's larger-than-life story makes its way to debut this week at Tel Aviv's Habima Theater.
Where do I start my story? When I was 13 and a half, games were all the way across. I only could stay 2 blocks, and no blocks there.
Basketball was his way out of the ghetto.
I was young. I knew that he loved me, but I knew that he loved basketball too.
I saw him play. I said, I want you to come over to play in Israel.
Where?
Joining me now, Aulcie Perry himself and producer for the film, Asaf Shaul. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I'm so excited to have you here, both of you.
Thank you very much.
Aulcie, I actually want to start with you now. If I understand correctly, there's something very special about this week's screening, something to do with the Make-A-Wish Foundation. Could you tell us a little bit about that?
All the proceeds are going to Make-A-Wish. It was something that our people put together to give back to the community. So it's something very special. And
then, after the screening, you're supposed to have an in-depth discussion with Danny Menken, the director,
and some of the players that I played with.
Oh, really?
Yes, it's going to be very nice.
Are you
nice after morning?
Nice morning discussion. All right. Yeah. I don't know why I pictured it in the afternoon. So, are you excited? What's maybe different about this upcoming event?
No, because it also gives us an opportunity for people to really get to see the true story and from me and Danny instead of getting it from the news that's not correct. This is it took me a long time to do it. It's a lot of things that's very painful for me until today, but it's something that it needed to be told, my story.
So, I want to know, your story is largely set in Israel, but of course it's a very international world traveling story. But, do you think that Israelis are going to be maybe more familiar with your story than other audiences? And if so, are you expecting maybe some harder questions in the open discussion?
No, not at all. I'm ready for it now. It took me time to get there, but I'm more ready for it now. And this is what we're looking for. We want to take it out. We want to bring it to as many areas as possible. The documentary has made all the parameters for the Oscars for documentaries. So we want to try to get it out to as many people as possible.
All right, Asaf, I want to turn to you now. How did you get to this film, to working with Aulcie, and tell us about that process?
For me, it's amazing even to sit next to Aulcie, and I'm talking to Danny, the director, on a daily basis, and we are catching our heads, thinking about our childhood, is the masterpiece, is someone that we grew on, and now we are sitting in the same car and traveling Israel, all over Israel, talking about Aulcie's story that he chose to speak about just now. It took us 20 years to get Aulcie to this point where the documentary is made, and he is willing to talk about his story for the first time. And seeing this audience hugging him back after 45 years since he left the court, it's unbelievable. It's like Aulcie won the European Cup yesterday, and people are excited from it when they see him on a daily basis on the street.
Do you feel some sort of sense of closure making this film, or how? Yeah.
Exactly, because in my first thoughts were to write a book about my story, and Danny came to me 20 years ago to start to do the film. But
this is a long time coming.
I couldn't. It was so many painful parts in it about that I wasn't ready to face. But then. First, I saw some of the work Danny had did, and and two, I was inches from dying. I had aneurysm of the aorta. Wow. So I said, okay, Aulcie, now is the time to let the people really know what happened and your story. My knees went out, and I wasn't ready for that. I couldn't imagine myself being without basketball. I started to take pain pills, and the pain pills were narcotic. And after about 5 or 6 months, I couldn't the doctor wouldn't give me no more prescriptions. Wow. And I realized I had become addicted. And this is the part that, you know, is very, very difficult for me to face. Those 2 years that I went through, I did some things that's unbelievable during this period. And it was hard for me to face it until today.
I mean, I think the beauty of the story is that it at least in this part, is so relatable too. I mean, we know today with the opioid epidemic, so I think so many people are going to, identify with you. Right. What was the most important message, maybe, or part of your story that you really wanted to get people to understand that maybe they didn't know? Because drugs got involved, it was difficult for me to talk about it, and I wanted them to know that, I wasn't even though I got arrested and everything, I wasn't a drug dealer, but I did some things that wasn't right, and it bothers me, and it bothered me until today. And even it frightens me until I have a really fear, because when I think back about then, I don't know what I wouldn't have done to add another 2 years to play, so that thought frightens me, really frightens me. And I want to just ask you again, because you said that Danny came to you 20 years ago with this, with his elevator pitch of a film, how did it hit your ears when you first heard hey, I want to make a movie about you?
No, I couldn't even. I didn't even want to hear the word drugs or something like that. It was just too painful for me to face. But like I said, after I saw Danny did On the Map, which was about Maccabi in our time, how we beat the Russians and went on to win the first European Cup, and he did. And I saw that he would do a job that, in my interest, it wouldn't be something that I would disagree with. He would be sensitive and inside it. So slowly, and like I said, after I had the aneurysm, I said, now is the time for me to really tell my story, because people were speculating what happened to me, and I said, no, it's time for them to hear it from me.
And set the record straight,
exactly,
so to speak.
Exactly.
I really implore everybody here to go out and check it out, especially if you're around, to go to Habima and support the Make-A-Wish Foundation. Aulcie, Asaf, thank you so much.
But like Asaf said, we're traveling the country with it, so they need to get in contact. It's worth watching. It's really worth watching.
Aulcie, Asaf, thank you so much for coming in. It was my absolute pleasure to have you.
Thank you.
תודה רבה.